Hello and welcome to the Carl Jackson Show, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. We've got a new pope and Democrats still have no hope. We're going to go through a plethora of stories today. There's so much to get to. It is absolutely unbelievable. So we'll take it a story at a time. I'm not going to spend an overwhelming amount of time breaking down too many stories. Obviously, I do want to talk about the new pope. I do believe, obviously, this is historic. We have the first American pope. I do believe that is pretty cool. I don't think that means anything. There's a lot of people out there on social media that are like, oh, great, we have this new pope. I don't know. I mean, they're acting like he's going to be MAGA or something. It's just not going to happen. I've read different things about this particular pope, Pope Leo the 16th. He's going by some good, some bad, quite frankly, and we'll have to wait and see. Who knows? Maybe he'll surprise us. Maybe he'll be a great pope. Maybe he won't be. The good news is we do have a Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So he's the one that ultimately counts. So make sure that you're in good with him. Obviously, a lot of Catholics are happy today. And I'm happy for Catholics today. If they're happy with this pick as a pope, I mean, honestly, I got to admit to you that I'm not a person that has traveled much at all, besides a few states within the United States, and still, I mean, just not much at all. And I don't have the desire, like a lot of people have, to travel tons, although I would like to see more of the USA. But admittedly, there are two places overseas that I'd like to see, and that is Israel, and I'd love to see Italy. I'd love to see Rome. In particular. And frankly, I wasn't even there until I watched the funeral of Pope Francis, and just watching the looking at the Vatican and the roads that as they were driving the casket and Pope Francis through the roads there, I was like, man, that's just such a beautiful sight. That's something that I wouldn't mind seeing. So I got to admit, I loved watching the tradition and that takes place in choosing the new pope, everything from the black smoke and the white smoke. And even though I'm an evangelical and I obviously have my theological disagreements, I thought it was really cool. Apparently, this came as a shock and surprise to so many people out there. So I do want to give you some of the tidbits that we have found out about Pope Leo the 16th. As per Breitbart, if I can pull up the right column, I had it on my phone, and now obviously I cannot find the one that I was looking and I can't find the one that I was looking for. Let me look on my phone real quickly here. And again, I appreciate all of you guys that are tuning in to the Carl Jackson Show. Please subscribe to the show. We're on Rumble. We're on YouTube. We're on Salem Podcast Network. Wherever you go to get your podcast, the Carl Jackson Show is where you can go to find us. Guys, I am so sorry. I'm sitting here scrolling and looking for the article that I was. Oh man, okay, this is so frustrating. Oh, here it is. I'm sorry, there's a big pop-up ad in front of the article itself. So anyway, on some of the key topics, a Cardinal Provost says little, but some of his positions are known. This, according to Breitbart, he is reportedly very close to Pope Francis's vision regarding the environment. Boo. Okay. His outreach to the poor and migrants. And guys, listen, it is incumbent upon us as believers to take care of the widows and the orphans. I do believe, and I have to say, I almost think there's a sense of idolatry that exists sometimes when it comes to poor, taking care of the poor, or a sense of virtue signaling. You should take care of the poor. The poor shouldn't, and obviously, when it comes to religion, it should be people of faith taking care of the poor. They shouldn't be reliant upon government to take care of the poor. But I do want people to understand this, and this always amazes me. And even religious people will get this wrong frequently. They act as if, and we act as if sometimes, because I'm a Christian, we act as if the poor cannot struggle with greed, just like the rich struggles with greed. And that's just not the case. You can read through Proverbs 30. It's just simply not the case. You have poor people that'll be tempted to steal. as a result of that. Or you have like the Bernie Sanders of the world, who's not poor, but a millionaire. But at one point he had less money, but he's always harping about, oh, the billionaires, the oligarchs and all this kind of stuff. Meanwhile, it is his party that is basically a party of elites. So you have that going on. So you have poor people that can say, I want what they have, or they shouldn't have what they have, without any context whatsoever. They don't know how hard people have worked for their money. Maybe some people have inherited money from parents and so on, etc. But that's none of your business. And if you struggle with that, that's greed on your part. Likewise, rich people can be greedy too. Middle class people can be greedy because you tend to want more and more and more. You see it all the time, even with people that win the lotto. It's always amazing to me that, the vast majority of people that win the lotto end up losing the money within years. And I don't mean obviously hide and seek type loss. They've just never dealt with that type of money, and they tend to blow it. And they tend to go bankrupt. I believe, if I recall correctly, somewhere within 5 to 7 years, the vast majority of lotto winners go completely broke. The same is true with many professional athletes, because they've never learned how to deal with money. They never managed their money properly when they were poor or when they were middle class. And then all of a sudden you get all of this money and you don't know what to do with it. And you assume, okay, I'm getting a check here and I'm making, $100,000 a week. Money's never going to run out until it does, because you always spend what you have. That's why you always have to spend less than what you have. And guys, I've been there before, where I've been horrible with money. And thank God I'm on the other side of that, where I'm much better with money. But it took me a long time to learn. And it took me a lot of Dave Ramsey listening. To be frank with you, and Crown Financial Ministries back in the day. I don't even know if they still exist. But anyway, that's that. But so those are some of the issues: the environment, outreach to the poor and migrants, meeting people where they are. And listen, I don't disagree with that. I mean, that's what Jesus does. He literally meets people where they are. But this is a position. Obviously, I'm not a Catholic. This isn't a position that I agree with, frankly, but I understand this is part of the Catholic tradition. And so this is what they do. This is and forgive me, guys, for Catholics that may be listening. But basically, if I recall correctly, it's basically St. Peter. It's basically like they're another disciple. They're not St. Peter, but they're is it? And basically like the next St. Peter. Forgive me, I'm completely ignorant on this stuff. I admit to it. Not completely. There's some things that I've studied in the past where I disagree, but on that particular issue, I'm drawing a blank right now. Here's some things that Pope, he supported Pope Francis. Speaking of Pope Leo the 16th, again, the environment, outreach to the poor and migrants, meeting people where they are. He said last year, quote, "The bishop is not supposed to be a little prince sitting in his kingdom," close quote. He supported Pope Francis's change in pastoral practice to allow divorced and civilly remarried Catholics to receive Holy Communion. Prevost appears somewhat less favorable, however, to currying favor with the LGBTQ lobby than Francis did, but he showed mild support for, I don't know what this is, fiducia supplicans. I have no idea what that means. So the promotion of gender ideology, he said, is confusing because it seeks to create genders that don't exist. Hoorah. Okay. I can get along with, I love that. According to the New York Times, Prevost faced some controversy while Bishop of Chiclayo in Peru when handling the investigation of two priests who were accused of sexual abuse, though his supporters claim he was subjected to a smear campaign. One woman in Chiclayo, and I may be mispronouncing this, who said she and two other women were sexually abused by two priests as girls long before Cardinal Prevost was bishop, accused him of mishandling an investigation and of not stopping one of the priests from celebrating Mass. The Diocese of Chiclayo said Cardinal Prevost opened an investigation that the Vatican closed. After a new bishop arrived, the investigation was reopened. Supporters of Cardinal Prevost say he is the target of a smear campaign by members of a Peruvian-based Catholic movement that Francis disbanded. bandit. So close friends have described Prevost as a more reserved man than Pope Francis, saying he holds himself back a little bit. Some of you guys may have heard he disagreed with Vice President J.D. Vance when it came to refugee status, apparently. And so, yeah, that's an issue. And I think, the church has a mission to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. The church has a global mission. I don't know what it is, however, that many people, whether it's Catholics, whether it's Protestants, sometimes don't understand that there are borders. I mean, the Bible itself teaches us about the nation of Israel. Jesus was not a refugee. He was still in the Roman Empire when he and Mary were counted in the census. But for whatever reason, sometimes these things, I don't know how it happens. I don't know how it happens, but it happens. Nonetheless, listen, I am praying and wishing for the best for the Catholic community, for this new Pope as well. I pray that he will be a voice of moral clarity, sola scriptura, rather than social justice. All right. That is my prayer. I think moral clarity is a good thing, whether it's in the Catholic Church, whether it's the Protestant Church, Judaism. Anyway, we'll be back. You're listening to the Carl Jackson Show. Hey, guys, just a quick reminder that MyPillow is having a mega sale. And MyPillow is excited to announce that they are extending the mega sale on overstock clearance, brand new products. So this is your chance to grab incredible deals on some of MyPillow's most popular and newly released items. For example, right now you can save $40 on the new spring MyPillow bed sheets. They're available in any size and any color. These luxurious sheets are designed for maximum comfort and breathability. They're perfect for a great night's sleep. If you're looking for a meaningful gift, you can save 30% on the brand new Mike crosses that are inspired by the one Mike has worn every day for over 20 years. These beautifully crafted crosses come in both men's and women's designs, and they're proudly made in the USA. You can get the 6-piece bath or kitchen towel sets for just $39.98. Initial quantities are low, however, so please order now. And don't forget the best-selling standard MyPillow right now. It's only $17.98. That's just crazy to me. I don't know how they do that, but they do it. And it's made in the USA. Orders over $75 ship for free. All you have to do is go to mypillow.com, use the promo code Carl, CARL, or call 800-858-0263. Call 800-858-0263. I do not spell it like the communist. So much news has happened today in the world of Trump. It's impossible to keep up with. Frankly, one of the things that it makes it easier when I do believe it or not, it's much easier to do a 3-hour radio show than it is to do a 45-minute to an hour podcast, at least for me. And the reason being is because, especially in the age of Trump, and frankly, this was even during Obama. Obama, if you recall, for those of you that are political nerds like me, the level of political reporting, increased exponentially under Obama because he was the first kind of social media president, to get involved in that. And then Trump took it to another level, and Trump has taken it to another level again. His first 100 days have been absolutely historic. He's trying to accomplish something. Literally every single day. And so you have that news, and then you have geopolitical news, because obviously Trump inherited not just a bad economy here in the United States, and frankly, a lot of division that was stirred by Barack Obama and by Joe Biden. He inherited that mess, the chaos that you see on Columbia University still. We'll get to some of that, but the foreign policy mess that Trump inherited, all of these things, it's like he's working on all of these things at the same time, and it's insane. There's also been a major trade deal with the UK. Before I came on air, we just got news that Janine Pirro, of the co-host of The Five, is going to be, let me see it. She is going to be, I want to make sure that I get this. She's going to be replacing Ed Martin as the U.S. United States Attorney General, I believe it is, in D.C. I believe that is the right way to frame it. And let me just double check that, make sure that I have that correct. So, listen, I'm happy for her. I'm happy for Trump. I'm kind of sad for Ed Martin, and frankly, I'm a little sad for Jeanine Pirro. Listen, let's just be real. I mean, she's, for her age, she is in amazing shape. She looks amazing. But she's not exactly a spring chicken. And she got it was a big deal for her to bust onto the 5. So this is just a temporary position. Basically, I'm saying that to say, I want her. I want her on the 5. I love Jeanine Pirro. I love Jeanine Pirro on the 5. And right now, I'm not even seeing that on Real Clear Politics. But Trump pulled the nominee of Ed Martin for the U.S. attorney for D.C. But now he has nominated Jeanine Pirro of the 5 Fox News co-host for that position. So that news literally broke as I was getting ready to come on air. It's insane. Obviously, you got the deal with the U.S.-UK trade deal. I'll speak about that. Kash Patel was on the Hill today before senators. And basically said that they are going through tons of video, apparently hundreds of hours worth of video of Epstein, apparently where there were plenty of, children and stuff involved. As far as he could tell, it seems legit that Epstein hanged himself inside of jail, inside of the prison. I don't believe that, frankly. I don't believe that. And that's not because I'm a conspiracy theorist. I just think that everything fell into play perfectly. And I don't know how you build a case if there was never. I believe that all of the evidence wasn't. Let me put it that way. I don't believe all of the evidence was admitted in the first place in any type of report that was handed to the FBI. That is just my personal belief. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't tend to believe it. We have plenty of video that we'll get to. You had Joe Biden on The View. You also had him on the BBC. The FBI has now officially opened a criminal investigation against AG Letitia James. Guys, the news is insane. All right. The news is absolutely insane. So why don't we just do this? Because the title of the program is A New Pope. We have a new pope, or there is a new pope, and Democrats still have no hope. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I want you guys to understand the Democrats do not have a plan. They do have a tactic. They have tactics that they're using. They have strategies. They're trying to see what sticks. They're going to throw everything they can at the wall. They want to distract. And I got to tell you, I think Joe Biden coming out, that's part of the distraction. Actually, Joe Biden coming out. Let me reframe this. Joe Biden coming out has to PO Democrats, because I believe that what Democrats want us to do is to forget everything that they put us through during the last 4 years. A president that had dementia, that wasn't running the White House, the foreign policy that was an absolute disaster, the COVID lockdowns, destruction of businesses and lives and education across America. So what the left wants us to do, I'm like, why are they doubling down on stupid? Part of it is a tactic because they want you to hate Donald Trump. They want you to hate Republicans. That's all they can do. And they figure if they can just bring his poll numbers down, that is their strategy. That is a tactic. If they could just seem to bring his poll numbers down, then maybe in 2026, they'll have an opportunity in which they could have a great opportunity to take the House. I hate to tell you, in 2026. And I only say that because Republicans haven't gotten anything done yet, which is why it drives me crazy. If I had hair, I'd pull it out. But also, I think they want to create a bunch of noise so that you forget how bad the Democrats are. All right. But I don't think they have much hope unless Republicans stink things up. So let's just go through these. All right. Let's go to clip number 41. Biden has the audacity to blame Trump. This is on The View for the border being wide open for millions of illegals during the past 4 years. At least I believe this is The View. It may be the BBC, but I believe it's The View. Anyway, it doesn't say on my show notes here, but clip number 40, por favor, Gabe. 40, I'm sorry, 40.
When you announced that you wouldn't be seeking re-election, only 28% of the country thought that the country was on the right track. Now, you are understandably very proud of many achievements in your administration.
Look at him.
But do you take any responsibility for not hearing the concerns of voters on the border security or cost of living sooner? And do you take any responsibility for Trump's re-election?
Yes, I do, because, look, I was in charge and he won. So, I take responsibility, number one. But number two, you remember we put together a commission leading with one of the most conservative members of the United States Senate from Oklahoma running it. We came up with a significant means by which we could deal with the border. What did Trump do? He got on the telephone and he called Republicans, do not support it. It's legal, it'll work, it'll make Biden look good, don't do it. And they backed off.
Okay, so what's the problem with that video clip? If you watch this show or any show like mine for any period of time, that was in year 4 of his presidency, the 4th year of his presidency. How long did it take President Trump to secure the border? Oh, what was that? Less than 100 days? This is a joke. I hope that they keep pulling or bringing this corpse out here. Now, this corpse and Jill Biden are absolutely, this is about self-preservation. This is about being able to go and make money. You guys may have heard the latest news. The latest news is that did you hear about this, Gabe? That they're going to give this guy $30 million for a book deal. Where is that? Where did I see that at? $30 million for a book deal. $30 million. They're going to sell 30 copies. I mean, this is absolutely insane. This is somebody that is trying to pay them off and say, okay, I'm going to give you this money. Shut up and go away. That's what it's got to be, in my opinion. I'm looking on Breitbart right now. I'm looking if I can see a headline to this. I don't know where I saw this, but I'm hoping they have it here. White House trade deal, Chinese, Kanye West releases Hell Hitler music video. Okay, so Kanye West is not going to be liked even more so than he already is. But anyway, basically, I don't see it right now, but the Bidens have been offered. Oh, here it is. Report Biden's consider $30 million tell-all book deal. Now, what will there be? There won't be anything to tell. There won't be much to tell, given the fact that they're trying to lie about everything. I mean, Jill Biden basically didn't conduct, but answered the tough questions on The View today. It's absolutely insane. Do we have enough time to play cut number 41, Gabe? If not, we'll wait until. Okay. All right. So, but anyway, a $30 million book deal. Now, why do they need this money? Why do they have to keep pumping this guy out? It's so obvious. Are you going to pay that guy to go give a speech? I think they would give him $30 million for a tell-all deal simply because they need him to go away. The longer Joe Biden stays around, the longer Joe Biden is in the limelight, America is going to be reminded of how bad they had it under his administration. And that's what the left wants to distract you from. You're listening to The Carl Jackson Show. Hey guys, appreciate you tuning in to the Carl Jackson Show, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Just a reminder, please follow me all things social media, X, Instagram, and Facebook. Por favor. Also, subscribe to the podcast, The Carl Jackson Show. I'm on Salem Podcast Network, YouTube, and Rumble. Wherever you go to get your podcast, The Carl Jackson Show. Is where you can find me. Certainly appreciate if you do find me. All right, Gabe, let's get right back to it. Por favor. All right, guys, welcome back to the Carl Jackson Show. Again, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. So we got a new pope. I went through that. Some of the things that he stands for, climate change. It sounds like I don't want to go so far as to say open borders, but apparently he retweeted other people where he gave basically if you retweet somebody, you're basically saying you like what they have to say. He also called Vice President J.D. Vance off out in the, I believe, earlier this year, and said he was wrong about the border issue. I don't recall the specific words, but anyway, but that was basically it. So there's some things. It sounds like, or if you're a conservative, you're going to like about the Pope. Some things you're going to dislike about the Pope. Well, Carl, he's not political. Sorry, that doesn't fly. I don't know where that comes from. I guess people want to feel. I mean, I know the goal is not to be political. All right. I mean, obviously, politics isn't going to take you to heaven. The only thing that is going to get you to heaven is a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. That's truly what I believe. Only he's the one that literally took his sin or your sin on his back. And paid the penalty for your sin so that you might have eternal life. So the only way to get to heaven is if you have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ and you know him. Okay, so I get that. So there is that. That isn't to say I'm sorry that politics. I do believe that the church should influence politics. I mean, why not? Why not? Because if the people of God don't influence politics, certainly non-believers, satanic people will. And you know what I'm saying? Somebody's going to. Why not influence politics for good? Why not buy time for people? And essentially, I believe that's what you're doing with politics. Politics is just a tool, in my opinion, to buy time for people to get to know Jesus and go to heaven. That's what I sincerely believe. All right. Here's another something that I want to make sure that I get to before I go on and get into this more of this Biden stuff. If we could get clip number 41 ready, Gabe. But I just want to make sure that I make mention of this, guys. On the geopolitical front, I know you're not hearing much about this, but I just want to make sure that I make mention of this. What is happening with Pakistan? Pakistan and India is a huge deal. Is a big deal. Those are two, obviously, countries with nukes. So just be on the lookout for that. And honestly, even what has happened with the trade deal with China, or actually, it's not a trade deal as of yet. But we do have a U.S. team obviously traveling to Switzerland this weekend to meet up with some delegates from China. And I do believe that impacts both Russia and Iran. If you guys heard my podcast last night, if you didn't hear it, you need to listen to it with Stephen W. Mosier, author of The Bully of Asia, I believe it is, or The Bully of China. I believe it's The Bully of Asia and The Devil and Communist China. Those are two of his most popular books. Also, the president of the Population Research Center. But you've got to hear this interview. I mean, China is not doing nearly as well as you may think or as they have portrayed, even though they have expanded into Cuba, and they are doing their best to make sure that they've got their hooks in the United States, because they want to be the dominant hegemony of the world, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Also, this from Salem News Channel. This is Hugh Hewitt. I'd much rather make a deal. Let me give you this. There are only two alternatives there. Speaking of Iran, the nuclear weapons, this is Trump. Blow them up nicely or blow them up viciously. Hugh Hewitt said, quote, "I'd much rather make a deal. Total verification. We can do that. We have some." Oh, this is Trump. I'm sorry. We have some brilliant people up at MIT. We can do that very, very solidly. I will much prefer a very strong, verified deal where we actually blow them up or just denuke them. There are only two alternatives there. Blow them up nicely or blow them up viciously. And obviously, I think Trump gets it. I think that nuclear program needs to come to an end, period. I don't even believe they should be allowed to enrich, because they believe that Israel is the little Satan. They believe that the United States is the big Satan. So here's more news. There's just so much, guys. I'm looking at this stuff. So let me just bring you this real quick. AG Pam Bundy announced today the arrest of 205 alleged child sex predators. She says, get these monsters off the street, quote unquote. If you're online targeting a child, she says, you will not escape us. All right. The FBI and the DOJ announced yesterday they arrested 205 alleged child sex predators in Operation Restore Justice. All right. So you had Pam Bundy and Kash Patel announce the success in cracking down on child sex abuse. Bundy warned parents to be watchful of the sites their children use online, where predators may pose as other children to lure in victims. 5 human trafficking victims rescued in Mississippi, officials say. It goes from instant message to instant nightmare, she said. And guys, remember that we've got, 300,000 kids in the United States. We don't know where they are. They came through Biden's open border. All right. And now he just lied on The View. It took Trump less than 100 days to secure the border, and he didn't need legislation to do it. He's talking about, Biden was talking about the senator in Oklahoma. I forget his name. I think Langford, who's sometimes great, sometimes a big disappointment. That was one of the cases where he was a big disappointment because he just fell into a Democratic trap. But nonetheless, that was not needed. An executive order sealed the border, and then making sure that ICE does their job, appointing a border czar, a Department of Homeland Security head that actually wants to seal the border, getting a Secretary of Defense that is willing to help sealed the border in less than 100 days. Just absolutely unbelievable. Okay, so still so much to get to. We still got Kash Patel, the U.S.-UK trade deal, more on Biden on The View. Let's go to clip number 41, please, Gabe. Joe Biden. This is more of Joe Biden on The View, claiming that Kamala Harris lost because of racism and sexism. I'm telling you guys, this is a disaster for Democrats. They are going to pay this guy $30 million to write a tell-all, even if the tell-all is if that's all they can say, because they need him to go away. And frankly, I think they need Kamala Harris to go away too. She's a liability. Cut number 41, por favor, Gabe.
Then election night came, and it was like 2016 all over again. Yeah. So why do you think the vice president lost, and were you surprised?
No. I wasn't surprised, not because I didn't think the vice president was the most qualified person to be president. She is. She's qualified to be president of the United States of America. Right. But I was surprised. I wasn't surprised because they went the route of the sexist route, the whole route. I mean, this is a woman. She's this, she's that. I mean, it really, I've never seen quite as successful and a consistent campaign undercutting the notion that a woman couldn't lead the country, and a woman of mixed race. Yeah. And they played that to a fairly well.
Where do you guys remember them playing that, or just basically Kamala Harris chopping up her own word salads? The more people saw Kamala Harris, the more they realized she was a complete and utter disaster. Do not forget that donors, she was on a call with donors after Joe Biden dropped out, and the donors were like, what do we do? Like, she offered them nothing but wanted their money. She's a disaster. And we've seen video since. She's a disaster. She's not going to be the nominee in 2028. Frankly, if she is the gubernatorial candidate in California, listen, California is a commie state, basically, but a lot of red people that remain there are waking up. And then you've got some new converts, I believe, in the Republican Party. I think if she is the nominee, the Democratic nominee for California governor, I do believe this is California's best shot in a long time to gain some inroads because she's a complete and utter disaster. All right, now let me bring you some more news just real quickly. I thought this was, I'm glad to hear about it, quite frankly. This is the FBI has formally opened a criminal fraud probe into New York AG Letitia James, who thought she was riding high. She came out, last week, and just a very nasty message to Trump. And, the stunning hypocrisy. I'll get to the quote. All a bunch of nonsense. What she's trying to do, but she's smart to do it. What Letitia James is trying to do by going after Trump, she tried to open up another case against him just the other day, and now she's smacked with this. So here's the summary from Newsmax. The FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office in Albany, New York, has opened up a criminal investigation into New York AG Letitia James over allegations of mortgage fraud according to the Albany Times Union. The probe comes in the wake of a criminal referral by the Federal Housing Finance Agency Director William Pulte earlier this month. So in his letter to U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, just for a refresher, Pulte wrote that James, quote, falsify records, quote unquote, to secure a home loan on a property in Virginia as her principal residence, quote unquote, in 2023. This is when she was serving as New York's prosecutor. Absolutely insane. Prosecuting Trump and committing mortgage fraud. We'll be back with more. Guys, welcome to the Carl Jackson Show, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Again, please follow me, all things social media, X, Instagram, and Facebook. Pull 5 at Carl Jackson Show. At the Carl Jackson Show is where you can go to find me. Please subscribe to the podcast, The Carl Jackson Show. The Carl Jackson Show. We're on YouTube. We're on Rumble. We're on the Salem Podcast Network. If you're watching live, we appreciate it. Gabe, are we still being censored on Facebook? If we're still being censored on Facebook, Gabe will put up a link on Facebook to YouTube so that you can watch us live on YouTube, or again, just subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Carl Jackson Show. We would certainly appreciate that. And we're probably censored just because a lot of people don't like Gabe. Don't tell them I said that, but sometimes. So, all right. Anyway, all right. Welcome back to the program. You are listening to the Carl Jackson Show. All right. What's your total deportation so far? I want you guys to hear this because Democrats have absolutely nothing. And so, again, I am arguing we got a new pope. Democrats still have no hope, but they do have tactics and they do have strategy. All they want to do, this is why they're using the same modus operandi. Trump is a Nazi. Trump is Hitler. Trump is bad. Trump is evil. Trump. What they want to do is just make you so mad and so disgusted and so tired of Trump that you want to just wipe the slate clean in 2026 and in 2028 because they absolutely have no ideas. But you know who's messing things up? Joe Biden. And honestly, I think it's going to get to this point. Kamala Harris. She is a disaster. Joe Biden is a disaster. And every time they look at those fools, they are reminded. People are reminded. Voters are reminded of the 4 years of horror that they lived through under that administration. Now, just to hearken or go back to, actually, I got to wrap up with Letitia James and what's happening there. But then we'll get cut number 42 ready. But again, New York AG Letitia James, I almost forgot. So now she's in trouble. All right. So this guy Pulte had recommended prosecution. That had recommended prosecution of New York AG Letitia James. And now the FBI has officially opened a criminal fraud probe into her real estate dealings. So again, she falsified records to secure a home loan on a property in Virginia as her principal residence, quote unquote, in 2023. She was serving as the New York prosecutor at that time. You're not allowed to do that. If you're the New York AG, you have to live in New York. Further, Pulte's letter went on to note that in 93, both James and her father signed a mortgage stating they were, quote unquote, husband and wife in order to secure a mortgage, home mortgage. Then in 2000, May 4th, Miss James and her father were listed again as husband and wife, quote unquote, in documents. This was a long time ago, but it raises concerns about the validity of James's representations on mortgage applications, says the prosecution. Pulte outlined that James could be liable for criminal charges ranging from wire fraud to mail fraud to bank fraud to false statements to financial institutions. Have you guys seen Alvin Bragg lately? You guys seen Alvin Bragg? It just hit me. I haven't seen him either. For her part, James slammed the accusations as part of Trump's, quote, revenge tour. So she hired Abe Lowell, who was Hunter Biden's attorney, a very good and very expensive attorney. How she has the money to hire him, I have no idea. Maybe he's working in part just to help her out because he's probably a Trump hater too, I'd imagine. I don't know, but I'd imagine. James went on to say, the stunning hypocrisy of President Trump's complaint that the Justice Department had been politicized and weaponized against him is laid bare as he and others in his administration are now asking you to undertake the very same practice. Lowell wrote to Bundy. She said, quote, this so-called criminal referral, which recycles long disproven allegations and is based on media reports, lacks any credible foundation, quote unquote, except that it's a mortgage with her signature. Yeah. So I don't know if this is something that would go before a jury. I would assume so if it's now up for a criminal trial. So if this thing goes before a jury, what is she trying to do? She's trying to gain sympathy before a trial. So that's what's happening there. Okay, let me go back to, this is Tom Homan. Remember what Joe Biden said in the first video clip that we played for you? Like they could have got the border secure in year 4. They could have got the border secure, but they needed legislation to do so. Trump didn't need legislation. He got it secure in less than 100 days. All right. So now this is clip number 42. This is Tom Homan. Basically well over 100,000, I guess, deportations right now. I believe that's what he says. Anyway, let's go to cut number 42. I'm sorry, Gabe.
What's your total deportation so far?
Well over 100,000. I mean, I looked at the ICE arrests.
You're over 100,000 now.
Yeah.
So you wanted to take the worst first. Have you gone through the worst?
No, we got a long ways to go.
Well, who else is left?
Well, when we started this thing, it's just shy of 700,000 illegal aliens in this country with a criminal conviction or pending criminal charges. So we got a lot of work to do. I looked at the numbers the other day, just yesterday. ICE, interior enforcement arrests, are just below 75,000, which is 3 times more than Biden did in the same time frame when he was president. So ICE is making a lot of arrests, but there's more work to do. And actually, we had a series of meetings this past week. We're going to increase the number of the operation teams. We're going to increase worksite enforcement. Because of Sanctuary Cities policy, what we're going to do with Sanctuary Cities, we're going to flood the zone. So if one agent can't arrest one bad guy in the jail and they choose to release him in the community, it means I can send a whole team to look for him. So in Sanctuary Cities, we're going to flood the zones with agents. If we can't take them in the jail like we should, the safety and security of a jail, then we'll go to the community and find them. And that takes a lot of people. So if we can't arrest them in the jail, we'll arrest them in the community. If we can't find them in the community, we'll arrest them at the work site. We're going to increase work site investigations too. Less agents in the jail means more agents in the communities, more agents in the work site. Let us in the jail. Let us arrest a public safety threat and in the security and safety of a jail. Releasing a public safety threat back in the community, it's just foolish. It increases the threat of public safety. So we're going to do what we got to do to get these people off the street. I wish they let us in the jail. It'll be a lot easier, a lot more efficient, and a hell of a lot more safe.
All right. So juxtapose that to what you heard. Biden say earlier on The View. It took him his 4th year to try to figure out a plan. And Trump was saying, well, Trump wasn't in power. Trump wasn't in office. Trump wasn't the president, and no one had any idea. Well, we thought he could win, but no one had any idea whether or not he would win or not. All right. And so it's just more lies from Joe Biden trying to secure his legacy. And then you hear this from Tom Homan. And then you have this. There was a UK-US trade deal. And that's why I'm saying Democrats still have no hope. See, Democrats, they can't talk about policy. They cannot talk about policy. See, when you see Joe Biden, you're reminded of not only what the left did to you with their policies, but how they lied to you with this freaking walking corpse. All right. They don't have policy. And now where is it? Where is it? My firmly fingertips here. Hat tip daily. No, that's another one. Oh, did I not print out? Oh man, I guess I didn't print it out. Forgive me. All right. So, let me find this. I thought I printed it out. Luckily for Gabe, I have it on my phone. All right. But basically the trade deal, with the US and UK, let me give you some of the things that have happened, This is what Trump said on Truth Social. Today is an incredible day for America as we deliver our first fair, open, and reciprocal trade deal, something our past presidents never cared about. Together with our strong ally, the UK, we have reached the first historic trade deal since Liberation Day, he writes. As part of this deal, America will raise $6 billion in external revenue from 10% tariffs on the UK, $5 billion in new export opportunities for our great ranchers, farmers, and producers, and enhance the national security of both U.S. and U.K. through the creation of an aluminum and steel trading zone and a secure pharmaceutical supply chain. Won't it be nice to deal with pharmaceuticals with an ally, even though they're not, NATO is not what it used to be, for sure. But at least I'd rather work with them as opposed to China. All right. This deal shows that if you respect America and bring serious proposals to the table, America is open for business. Many more to come. Stay tuned. So we've got that deal with UK. Town Hall goes on to explain that this trade deal will significantly expand U.S. market access into the UK, which is something else that Trump wanted. He wanted the U.S. to have more access into those foreign markets. They had a lot of access to our markets. We didn't have as much access to theirs. So that's what he was saying when he mentioned fair trade. It wasn't just trade deficits or trade surpluses, because sometimes, frankly, that's not bad. All right. This includes more than 700 million in ethanol exports and 250 million in other agricultural products like beef. It commits the countries to work together to enhance industrial and agricultural market access. It closes loopholes and increases U.S. firms' competitiveness in UK's procurement market. It ensures streamlined customs procedures for U.S. exports. It establishes high standard commitments in the areas of intellectual property, labor, and environment. It maximizes the competitiveness, and secures the supply chain of U.S. aerospace manufacturers through preferential access to high quality UK aerospace components. It creates a secure supply chain for pharmaceutical products. The reciprocal tariff rate of 10%, as originally announced on Liberation Day, is in effect. The U.S. will agree to an alternative arrangement for the Section 232 tariffs on UK autos. Under the deal, the first 100,000 vehicles imported into the U.S. by UK car manufacturers each year are subject to the reciprocal rate of 10%, and any additional vehicles each year subject to 25% rates. The U.S. also recognizes the economic security measures taken by the UK to combat global steel excess capacity and will negotiate an alternative agreement to Section 232 tariffs on steel and aluminum. All of that to say, we just worked out a good deal with the UK. All right, guys. Thank you for listening to the Carl Jackson Show. Just one more block here. And I mean, there's so much to go through. It's insane. So this is where you will be in for some conservative cardio. But there was just so much news breaking, and still, I'm sure, breaking. I literally have to refresh my phone because as soon as you think you're reporting, there's some news story that hits. And I like this because you know what? You know what the Cloward-Piven strategy is? Excuse me. It's to overwhelm the system. Well, I think that Trump is overwhelming the system, but in a good way. The problem is, I'm not convinced that we have a Republican Party, with the exception of a handful in the Senate, with the exception of a handful in the House, that have that are willing to back them. All right. So where is that? Anyway. Okay. All right, so welcome back to the Carl Jackson Show. Again, your daily dose of objective truth in the world of confusion and lies. Just a reminder, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you go to get your podcast: Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, and Rumble. I got more video that I want to share with you. And also, let me just read you this headline. I won't have time to go into it tonight, but some moderate Republicans voiced opposition to defunding Planned Parenthood at a closed door meeting. So this news broke the other day. They're having a really hard time in the House getting anything worth of substance passed when it comes to a bill. So several moderate Republicans reportedly voiced opposition to defunding Planned Parenthood in a reconciliation package during a closed-door meeting with House Speaker Johnson and House Majority Leader Steve Scalise on Tuesday. Citing sources familiar with the matter, said many Republicans and pro-life groups have been pushing the GOP to use budget reconciliation to cut Medicaid funds to Planned Parenthood, which performs abortions and provides other services, while the Hyde Amendment bars taxpayer funds from paying specifically for abortions. Opponents are against providing any funding to a group that performs abortion. So you have some Republicans, and again, I don't want to spend lots of time on this, but here it is. Representative Mike Lawler, he's a Republican in New York. You have Brian Fitzpatrick, who's in Pennsylvania. You have Jen Kiggins, who's in Virginia, are among the moderate Republicans who told House leadership they are opposed to cutting federal funding to the abortion giant in a reconciliation bill. That's dumb as hell. I'm sorry. I'm so tired. And I hear it all the time. And people that in this industry, quite frankly, that are always going to believe they're smarter than you. And hey, listen, these guys, they can't. You have to have moderates in this district. You have to, and I get this argument, but you also have to stand for something. Otherwise, you may as well be a Democrat. See, what Democrats are willing to do, they're willing to go to the House and they're willing to fight for what they believe, even if they lose seats. Republicans don't have that level of conviction because their jobs are too cushy. The Republican Party is not a party. I hate to say this, but it's true. It's not a party of moral conviction. That's why when you see a Donald Trump, that's why when you see a Ron DeSantis, you're like, oh, hallelujah, because they're so freaking rare. And Donald Trump being one of the more rare that you'll ever see. It frustrates me to no end. How about telling your constituents, you know what? No, we're not going to use your taxpayer funded money to pay for abortions. We're not going to do that. You're free to do that. But the federal government should not be paying for that. We're not going to use other people's taxpayer dollars to pay for that. I mean, it's just insane to me. But anyway, that's that. Also, you have Maine's Democratic governor is being humiliated as more schools side with Donald Trump and transgender athlete feud. So that's a good thing. Another Maine school district is defying the Democratic governor, Janet Mills, in the ongoing fight over transgender athletes in women's sports. Shouldn't be an issue, but it is. So these people are doubling down on stupid. What they're hoping, again, that they can turn the tables, bring the poll numbers down when it comes to Trump, regain the House in 2026, and also distract you from the damage that Joe Biden did. So the goal is to focus on everything that, everything that makes sense, everything that's common sense, they want to paint as evil, and they want to just be anti-Trump. So Maine has been the epicenter of controversy after Trump signed the executive order aimed at keeping men out of women's sports. It came after years of controversy involving Blair Fleming and Leah Thomas. But anyway, that's that. But anyway, there's more districts basically are saying we're not going to do what the governor says. The governor is a chick that's down for men to play in women's sports. It's the Democrat Party. There's no feminism there. There isn't. It's the weirdest thing. All right, I got to move on. Let's go to clip number 44, please, Gabe. Clip number 44. This is more of Joe Biden on The View. This time, it looks like with Jill. But they're asked about the books that have been written about Joe Biden's cognitive decline, and this is what is said. Clip number 44, please, Gabe.
Yeah. Mr. President, since you left office, there have been a number of books that have come out deeply sourced from Democratic sources that claim in your final year there was a dramatic decline in your cognitive abilities. In the final year of your presidency, what is your response to these allegations, or are these sources wrong?
They are wrong. There's nothing to sustain that. Number one. Number two, think of what we're left with. We're left with a circumstance where we had an insurrection when I started. Not since the Civil War. We had a circumstance where we were in a position that the pandemic, because of the incompetence of the last outfit, end up over 1 million people dying. And we're also in a situation where we found ourselves unable to deal with a lot of just basic issues, and which I won't go into in the interest of time. And so we went to work, and we got it done. And, one of the things that well, and
Alyssa, one of the things I think is that the people who wrote those books were not in the White House with us. And they didn't see how hard Joe worked every single day.
Look at him.
I mean, he'd get up, he'd put in a full day, and then at night I'd be in bed, reading my book, and he was still on the phone, reading his briefings, working with staff. I mean, it was nonstop. It's the White House, being president is not like a job. It's a lifestyle. It's a life that you live. You live it 24 hours a day. That phone can ring at 11 o'clock at night or 2 in the morning. It's constant. You never leave it. And Joe worked really hard. I think he was a great president.
Almost sounds like she was the president.
If you look at things today, if you look at things today, give me Joe Biden anytime.
You know how silly you have to be to clap to that? And she straight up took over that interview. It's almost as if she was the president of the United States. Wink, wink. One has to wonder. I mean, just absolutely insane. He inherited a pandemic. Well, listen, even though I completely disagree with it, you inherited therapeutics. You inherited a pandemic that was waning, and you could have easily turned the country around. You decided not to do that. You decided to lock America down and destroy lives. Insurrection, that wasn't an insurrection. Most of the people were being charged on J6 with trespassing, but you told AG Merrick Garland basically to kick it up a notch, and then you guys started going after people. It's absolutely insane to me. I want to make sure that I play this. Is this this is, I don't even know if we have time. Let's play this. This is Kash Patel. I want to try to get as much of this in as we can. Kash Patel, cut number 46, please, Kate.
Agency. I was an impeachment manager for President Trump's second impeachment. It was a sad, solemn duty. And so I wanted to ask you about that. Mr. Patel, as you and the president continue to weaponize and investigate his perceived enemies, as you follow this blueprint, when can I, a former impeachment manager, expect the FBI at my door?
Ma'am, you want to know who was targeted by a weaponized FBI? Me. You want to know how and why?
Well,
you want to know what I'm doing to fix it?
That. Let me move on.
Well, you should read the book because there's no enemies list on that book.
So
there are people that violated their constitutional obligations and their duties to the American people, and they were rightly called out. And you should give that book to every one of your constituents so they can read about it.
I won't be doing that.
That's their loss.
During your Senate confirmation hearings, you repeatedly denied having any involvement as a private citizen in the firing of FBI officials who engaged in the prosecution against January 6 insurrectionists, the violent rioters who beat and killed Capitol police officers.
Oh, my God.
And
what
whom
a
you
liar.
refer to as political prisoners. Since then, multiple whistleblowers have come forward, and we know that you likely committed perjury. At the same hearing, you claimed you were not familiar with Stu Peters, an anti-Semitic Holocaust denier, despite the fact that you appeared on Mr. Peters' podcast 8 separate times. 8 times. And you claimed not to recall. Mr. Patel, my second question is, should we worry more about your memory or your veracity?
We should worry more about your lack of candor. You're accusing me of committing perjury. Tell the American people how I broke the law and committed a felony. Have the audacity to actually put the facts forward instead of lying for political banter so you can have a 20-second donation.
We have to leave it there. This is the Carl Jackson Show. We'll be back tomorrow.